What is it, guys? It's Farewell34 and I'm here with my Spider-Man issue 1 review. I absolutely freaking love Miles Morales. He is one of my favorite personal characters, like in general, and I just fell in love with the character ever since I started reading it like 3-4 years ago. What made this series so fantastic was the writing and the interesting story, the complex character, all inside this 1610 Ultimate Universe, different from the regular 616. And it was like a different Spider-Man. It was like a half black, half Latina, like 13-ish-year-old Spider-Man. That was like pretty new and controversial at the time. That being said, this is a completely different series with Miles. Spider-Man issue 1 is 8 months post Secret Wars, and now we're just seeing how Miles fits into this new universe with the whole Secret Wars junk. Anyway, let's get right into the story. So the narrative for the story starts off in a pretty interesting standpoint. It's pretty much an action piece where it's kind of calm actually, and we see Miles standing in front of this black demon prince of the underworld, Blackheart. Pretty much Blackheart's telling Miles like to go on his knees and surrender while he looks pretty injured and all of his fellow Avengers are all knocked out. I thought this was an interesting way to start off the story. It gets people interested, like, oh my gosh, the Avengers are dead. How did this happen? Well, keep reading to find out. It was a good way to get people to like, okay, this is where he is now, 8 months after what happened, and now you're gonna find out what exactly has been happening throughout the middle portion of the issue, and I thought that was really cool to see. What has Miles been up to the past couple months? Well, he's been chasing girls and he's pretty much pissed them off. So of course Miles is trying to, just chat up with this girl, which is very different to see from the previous, history of Miles. We really don't see him talking to too much girls other than his initial girlfriend. Of course, none other than his best friend Gank is there to support him and tell him, give him advice. And just be like, man, don't worry about it. There's other people out there. And in all honesty, you should probably be dating people of your own kind. It's kind of interesting how Gank brings up the point of, he should date somebody of his own kind. Of course, because the whole, kind of series for this Miles is kind of him dealing with being a superhero, an Avenger, while having to deal with being a teenager and school and etc. And we really see that throughout this issue. And him dating a superhero who's a girl, of course, she'll be able to understand, him being late today because of traffic or, quote unquote traffic, but having to fight crime. Next we see Miles getting a phone call from none other than Mama Morales. She is alive. Hashtag thank you, Secret Wars. She's pretty much telling him his grades are slipping and he really needs to pick it up, and it's because, of course, like I said earlier, the whole story is kind of focusing on him being a teenager, struggling with school and superhero life. What's interesting though is Miles' father is actually pretty chill and calm about the fact that, he's not doing the best in school, but he understands why, because in this story, Miles' dad actually knows about his secret identity. There's actually a funny line where he kind of tells his mom, like, yelling on the phone won't make anything better. His grades won't magically come back. I found it a little weird seeing Mama Morales back into the picture because it changes the dynamic of the comic so much, because in the old series, his mom, spoilers being like not there really, changed a lot of who Miles was, and it was a really pivotal part in the storytelling. So I guess they're trying to go a new route with this, and even just the fact that his dad knows about his secret identity is something pretty big, because back before, his dad didn't know for the longest time and actually hated people who had powers and didn't want to know that he had powers. So that's pretty cool to see. I'm actually open to the idea and kind of interested to see where they're gonna go. Then we see Miles back in the classroom. We really haven't seen the guy in school in a very long time. Even in the old series, we never really saw him just chilling in class. It was more in his dorm room doing superhero stuff, then coming back. Anyway, we see him here, just talking back to the teacher back and forth. A fire truck goes by and Miles pretty much tells his teacher to piss off and let me do my job. They're really going full force with this whole, generic superhero trying to balance his teenage life, and that it might work. Maybe they have really good plans and a unique take on it, but for now, I'm just kind of I really like the old stuff, but I am open to this. Miles gets to the scene not really knowing what's going on, and he sees a giant explosion happen and all these trucks and cars are flying, and he uses his web shooters, of course, to stop all the drama. I really like the panels in this part because I thought it highlighted some of the best artistic parts of Pichelli's work. The sceneries she's drawing are amazing. There's actually a funny scene where Miles is kind of trying to do his job, and then the civilians are kind of telling him yo dude, we can kind of do this. You should go and punch shit. It's kind of cool. They're kind of accepting. They're like, go Spidey, and I'm like, wow, we don't really see that too often with Miles. The last part of the book, of course, is we see Miles pulling up to Blackheart, and we see that most of the Avengers are down except for Captain America, and right when Miles gets there, he pretty much gets knocked out. So Miles and Blackheart get into a fight, and they have some pretty funny engagements here and there. A couple, comments, and some pretty cool panels. My favorite scene from this comic was when Miles sees Captain America's shield on the ground when he's fighting Blackheart, and he's like, do I dare? Reading those two panels were one of the funniest parts of this comic. I literally was like, that is something I would totally say in that situation. I'm like, do I touch a shield? What? Miles ends up picking up the shield and fighting Blackheart, but ultimately what kills him is his Venom Blast, his signature trademark, sting. The issue ends with Blackheart yelling his vengeance to Miles and disappearing into some weird portal thing. And the issue ends with a surprise visit from Spider-Man, the OG. Overall, guys, I was really excited for this issue. I had been waiting months to read this thing. They actually got the original team back together who made Miles' story so great and so original. Like I said before, I really like the art, especially the scenery parts. I thought the faces though were drawn a little bit weird and maybe a little too hyper-realistic at some points. Some of the bad things in this issue, although there weren't too many, I would say that it was a little bit too short, and maybe the story with Miles' background, they could have fleshed it out a little bit more, because like, dude, it's 8 months, a lot of things have happened, you would live in a whole different freaking universe. But overall, as a first issue, I think they did a really great job in setting up the story of Miles, you know, being a teenager superhero, struggling to do school and all these other teenage things. I'm gonna go ahead and give this issue a 7.5 out of 10. I think we just have to accept it's gonna be different from the Miles that we all love and know, but we have to accept it, and of course, it's in good hands, so it's gonna be interesting the way that they go. So I'm excited. If you guys like this video, don't forget, give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you have not already, guys. It really helps me out. We're at like 712 subscribers now, guys. I haven't been making a lot of videos recently because of schoolwork. I promise you, I'm gonna try my best to make as many as I can. Let me know if you like this way of me making comic book reviews, because I'm gonna be doing these more now, and it's kind of like a mix of like face, me and you, and panels. So just leave a comment what you think. Giveaway time! If you want to win a digital copy of this comic book, all you have to do is leave a comment in the comment section below saying what you want to see with this new Miles Morales series. That's it. That's all you gotta do. I will pick the winner in a couple of days and I'll message you direct. Anyway, guys, I'll see you guys next time. Peace!